Flags are up there to the right.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Today is June 30th, 2023, and the time is 12:04 p.m. This is a meeting of the Warren City Schools Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting, as indicated in agenda items number 11A and 11B. I will now like to call the meeting to order, and can we please stand and salute the flag? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Cortino, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Flanagan?
Here.
Mr. Fowley?
Here.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Here.
Mrs. Patterson? Mr. Walker?
Here. Next, we're going to move to agenda item number 3, executive session. Under provisions of the Ohio Revised Code 121.22, the Warren City School Board of Education will recess to executive session at 12:05 p.m. to discuss letter A, consideration of appointment, employment, promotion, etc. of public employees, and letter C, conference with an attorney involving pending legal action.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cortino?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker, or Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. We will return. Mr. Frank? Are we good, Mr. Frank? I hate he's in the next room, but I guess he has to be. Should I just start, or should I?
Frank, are we good? Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
We're good, Mr. President.
Thank you for that. Time is 12:46, and we will reconvene from executive session and go to agenda item number 4, communications.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm signing something. I have 3 communications to share with the board this afternoon. First, I just want to give you an update on E-rate. E-rate is the reimbursement process that we have through the government for some of our technology projects that are approved. Wanted to let you know that we received $557,855 worth of work funded back $457,626. So it cost us $100,000 to get $557,000. I think the reimbursement's approximately, is it 85% thereabout?
Yes.
So, good news, E-rate is still in effect.
Nice.
And we got $557,000 worth of work, wiring, it's related, et cetera, for
Nice.
$100,000.
That's
E-rate
good.
has been around for a while now, hasn't it?
Yes, and we are very happy and we wish them
Yes.
many more years
You got that right.
as being a funded government
Yes.
program.
Yes.
Long live E-rate.
I have a request of the board. We received information that Inspiring Minds is hosting various partners, donors, and government officials for a day of their program, and the day is Tuesday, July 11th. So if anyone can be available from the board, I have information that I'm going to pass off to Wendy because of my upcoming absence. And the tour begins at 9 a.m. at Inspiring Minds headquarters. You end up going to Harding and Lincoln and back to IM, and then the tour concludes at 11. So if there's anyone that can commit to doing this, I believe it's very important that you attend. We're going to have a presentation from Mr. Tolles here in August. We were coordinating dates when we met. You know, we started partnering with IM and the board committed to transportation. And then the board committed to the summer program, and we would pay for this, pay for that. With our money that we received, you know, in ESSER dollars, we have been working with IM to be our partner to help reduce student learning loss, keeping students engaged programmatically, providing them mentors. We have an after-school program at our 2 northern schools, McGuffey and Lincoln, which we pay for. We pay for that program. We have the summer program. We have our high school program, which we also are using these dollars to fund. As these dollars slip away, I need the board's commitment or non-commitment to Inspiring Minds. If we don't find a sustainable source to fund Inspiring Minds to the tune of $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 a year, then Warren's not going to have Inspiring Minds. And you know, they do fundraising, but they're also working on a building. You know, our facility we're building, the Student Recreation Wellness Center, is meant to support programs like theirs, that they can utilize it because it's for our students. Our center's for our kids, whether it's an IM program, our program. So Mr. Tolles is going to come in and meet and talk with the board, and I think it's the second meeting in August. Mr. Capers and Mrs. Hartzell are going to take the lead in working through with Mr. Tolles and some of his leaders in his organization, because we've been paying a lot in Inspiring Minds bills, grant funded, but as the grants expire, we're going to have to find what exactly is the direction that we want to go as a district. I'm in strong support of us continuing our relationship with Inspiring Minds, but we also need to realize that it's not free. And again, we have our 21st Century program at our southern schools. We keep applying for that grant, but it keeps getting approved for our southern schools, but not our northern buildings. So, you know, we want to have equitable services for our students and children in the city of Warren that go to Warren City Schools. So I think I just want you guys to think about it, this would be a great opportunity for you to see more into the program, because we're going to be asking, and I'll say this publicly. Inspiring Minds made a grant request to the Ween Foundation. The Ween Foundation reached out to me. Mr. Board Member Capers of the Ween Foundation, I don't know if you want to be part of this conversation or not, but the Ween Foundation reached out to me on my opinion if they should continue to be funded as a partner, whatever. And I wrote a very passionate response. Instead of yes, no, and answering their questions, I said the Ween Foundation should think outside of the box and fund them to the tune of $1 million a year for 10 years to ensure this. There is a ton of money in that foundation. They should make a life-altering decision for children in the city of Warren. We're investing in a center. Invest in the human capital of a program. Let us work together as partners. Mr. Lacey, you've been involved with Ween for many years as well. This would be the vision. I just got to thank you on my reply to my email, whether that's something the foundation is saying, wow, this would be great, or they said, well, we're not doing this. We don't know. IM did not get funded on the last round. They were told that it'll make the September meeting, whatever their ask is, whatever is coming from Ween, but we need to continue to be a partner for their program to be sustainable. And so we are committed to the programs that we have, and that's why I started this joint committee between Warren City Schools officials, the associate superintendents, and whoever Mr. Tolles thinks would be the best to be at the table, so we could talk about the future and what it looks like as partners. And it's good to do that every once in a while. But my position is going to be, I think we need to continue doing this, but we need to get to the how and get to the nuts and bolts, so there's no gray areas, because when the grant funding depletes, it's going to have to be a strong commitment.
And if I could add to that, the natural flow would be, we receive from the state student success and wellness dollars. Those are restricted funds that we, need to report how we spent. And, the main intent of those funds is to collaborate with outside organizations for the student success and wellness. So that would be the natural flow if we had no grant opportunities to look to using those resources in budgeting for that.
I think, I kind of am watching outside of our organization and other areas where they're spending or allocating ARPA funds and things like that. And I see a lot of duplication of services, and I see a lot of just different groups being created to, focus on different areas. So I look at, Inspiring Minds, it's established, it's proven. We see the results. So I agree. I think it's a good idea that we have further discussion on that. And that being said, I'll commit to attending on the 11th. I'll just go into work at noon.
I'm gonna ask my employer, that's all, it'll be okay for me to miss that little span of time also.
Okay.
Because I like to do it too.
Then so you guys, as you figure that out, if you could let Mrs. Hartzell know,
Okay.
and then she will be giving the information over to IM, who will be going, and then we'll get more information out to you.
Okay.
Last thing I wanted to mention under the communications is I'm going to have a very brief but very important superintendent's report. And due to the nature of the information that I received in the last 24 hours, it wasn't able to be formalized on the agenda. So I'm going to do about a 5-minute superintendent's report today.
Okay. All right.
And that concludes my communications.
Thank you for that, Mr. Superintendent. Agenda item number 5, adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cortino, can you please take the roll?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Agenda item number 6, treasurer's report.
On today's last day of fiscal year end here, and there's quite a few items for your approval. I'll start off with transfers and advances that we do at year end. We're transferring money, as always, every year to athletics for what they fall short. And you know, obviously COVID has changed the environment of attendance at sporting events, and I think we've seen a fall in terms of ticket sales. But we'll be transferring $77,119.91 to our athletics fund. And I believe they spent out of athletics about $188,000 this year. Typically, they're given a $200,000 budget, so that was good to see.
Does that include that 77 that you're transferring?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. So the other two items we are going to advance. We have two grants that we received. One is the BWC School Safety HVAC grant, and the other is the Stronger Connections grant, which is actually in the fiscal year 2024 allocations. Because those are not available yet to draw down funds, I just have to make sure we advance to cover the negative, and then as soon as we receive those funds, those will come back to the general fund. They'll advance back out. So that totals to about $61,000.
Okay.
Okay, and then you're approving today the final appropriations for fiscal year 2023. Total all funds, we had appropriated $159,444,105. General fund is $71,813,833. So there is quite a long list of funds that you'll see, and a huge majority of those are grant funds, which is always, you know, great to see. The other item you'll be approving today is fiscal '24 temporary appropriations. We approved those before we start in July, and then in September we approve our permanent appropriations. So this gets us through July through September expenditures. However, we work really hard as a departments and leadership team to do our budgets ahead of time and have a pretty solid idea of what that's going to be. So currently for fiscal '24, we're budgeting in the general fund $71.3 million. And then total all appropriations is $128,444,356. So pretty similar to where we were at. We were at $159 million. Some of the grants maybe are no longer going to be into this year or have not been allocated yet, so they're not considered here.
Okay.
And then finally, I'd just like to give you an idea. Obviously, we still have today and any additional money coming in that you know, may be deposited today and not counted in here. And also interest. We've been doing quite well in interest, but we have ended the fiscal year at about $61.8 million, a little less than I had anticipated, mainly due to our Medicaid reimbursement didn't come in yet, so that's kind of an in transit. And then also on the expenditure side, some of the estimates for purchase services such as the tuition we pay out was lower than anticipated, you know, actual. So, but the good news of that is we still built our cash reserves up by $2.8 million from where we started the fiscal year.
How much?
$2.8 million. So, very good, solid financial condition. And that's all I have for you today, unless you have any questions.
Do you know roughly how much we expect from Medicaid reimbursements when it arrives?
I believe it is close to 400,000.
Okay. Excellent. Beautiful.
They actually sending out information on new programs to try to increase that Medicaid funding.
Oh,
So
excellent.
that's something coming up, which is Good to know. Good to see.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Karen. Agenda item number 7, Superintendent's Report.
Mrs. Hartzell, if you can help me out here. I have 5 envelopes. I'm going to have Ms. Hartzell pass one out to each board member. If you can just hold on to that for a moment, please.
It's unethical for us to accept
Do
checks
not
from
open
you.
it up.
I feel like it's the Price is Right
You
or
know,
something.
it's unethical for us to accept payment from you.
Hey. Well, I can say this is definitely payment. So since the beginning of time, I believe, school districts have had designations by their state, and there's been federal designations by building. And that's based upon student performance every 3 years or on a 3-year period. Yesterday, the designations in the past is we've had focus schools, we've had improvement schools, we've had priority schools, and that determines, being in, whether it's the bottom 5% of the state or whatever the criteria is. So the feds require the states to determine their school's status for federal designations. The feds don't tell the states how to do that. It's up to the states to determine. So we received our letters as far as our designations. In the past, from 2014, 2018, all of our schools have been either focus or priority. Well, we haven't had priority lately, but it's been focus schools based upon the improvement that is needed due to student academics. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd like you to open your envelopes at this time. And inside is the status of your school. This is the federal status of that school.
There's nothing.
So what's that?
Okay.
Thank you to the feds.
This is the first time that we know that we have no schools. We have no negative federal designation status across the Warren City schools.
I thought the letter was just late.
They're all all 5 buildings are ranked as independent. We don't have any priority schools. We don't have any focus schools. All 5 buildings for the next 3 years, unless someone's lying.
Nobody lied.
That was off the record, Bob.
Oh, my God.
Have no negative rating.
And this began in 2014, you said?
It's been for a long, I think, well before that. This is as far back as Wendy and I can go since this morning, because we were in Columbus yesterday when we got the email, from SST Region 5, and Michelle Moore said, "Good news, Warren leaders. I have good news to share with you. The ESSA federal school designations were released. Warren City Schools has no schools in designation status."
And this
We then called her to make sure,
not Warrensville, not.
yeah, we wanted to make sure. We were sitting with Warrensville yesterday and some other school districts, and to be clear, we were at our mid-sized leadership collaborative annual meeting that we hold at Rotzel Law down in Columbus, and letters went out. All of our colleagues have schools and letters. So this isn't a district designation. This is Ohio's measurement of public and community schools. We are not, we don't have a spotlight on us at this time.
That's great.
We have a different
Great news.
spotlight.
That's great.
Well,
That's
kudos.
No, keep progressing, keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work is the message.
Always
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
So how about that?
Kudos to.
That's my superintendent's report
Yeah,
for today.
Yeah, really. Kudos to not only to our superintendent, our administration, our senior administration, our mid-level, our administration at our schools, to our teachers, aides, to our personnel that was here, this food service workers, to the communities, to the parents, to the grandparents, the aunts and the uncles, and the play aunts and the play uncles too. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Great.
There will be more information coming out on this For example,
That is good.
you know, I'm going to reference
great.
this in the annual report in my cover, which I now I have to get done today because of time frames, and so I have to redo it and get it all set. We're going to do that, but also probably I would think this would be a major part of my convocation with the staff members
Absolutely.
upon their return, and then talking about our academic focus and how we're going to continue the good work that we're doing in the district. But it is great to know, as I shared with you prior, our state review is already going to go into a different direction because it's our 5-year annual state review. And the state had already contacted me and said, and I shared with you the letter, that they are not going to come in and do a deep dive in our district because they are not, apparently they must have known this, you know, before we did, I would think, but they had said that they do not need to come here. They're satisfied with the progress we are making academically as a district. Now we have the federal designations that is backing that up, that all 5 of our districts are free and clear in independent status.
That's nice.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Hold your head high, Warren.
Yes. Yay. Yay.
And that concludes the superintendent's report for this afternoon.
Yay, very good.
Excellent report. I
That was
love
a
it. I love it.
Great report.
Yes.
Agenda item number 8, Board of Education Committee reports, athletics.
Mr. Nicholson says that there's nothing to report at this time.
Okay.
I saw that the roof is starting to be finished on the building. That's
Looking
nice.
good.
Yeah. Finance advisory, Mr. Fowley, Mr. Flanagan, anything?
I think the treasurer has done our work for us.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. They're making this meeting easy. Board policies and guidelines?
Yes, sir, we have a small report. We met with the superintendent and Ms. Barb Roby from Neola, right? She's from Neola on the 23rd. Patrick and I met with them to go over board policies, which will be on our July board agenda. We have board policies that had to be revised. We had some that need to be replaced. We have a new one or so, and I believe it's one rescind we have. Patrick got to meet Barb, and he got to go through the process, which was a great thing. So we're looking forward to I think Steve is going to get with Barb, and then when they're all done, they'll get with us, and we'll see them on our agenda.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thank you for that. Legislative liaison, Ms. Lamperos, Mr. Fowley?
Do you have anything?
Well, besides Columbus is a disaster, the conference committee is meeting on the budget bill. I feel sorry for the 6 individuals. There are over 500 items being contested between the House and the Senate. It's going to be a very long weekend for them, which the House has already passed a bill to extend the deadline from today for another week. The Senate apparently is refusing to do that, so we continue to monitor. It's our worst nightmare.
No problem. Thank you for that. And is there a
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. Is there a TCTC board
No, there's no
representative report? Okay.
There's no report.
Thank you for that. I don't believe we have anything under agenda item number 9, old business. Number 10, new business. And I don't believe there's anyone for public participation in 11A, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If not, let's move to page number 3. Item number 1, treasurer's recommendations. Mr. Fowley?
Treasurer's recommendations. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding the June 2023 board minutes be approved as submitted.
Second?
Ms. Cortino, is there any question or discussion on the motion? If not, Ms. Cortino, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page number 4, item number 2, Mrs. Lamperos.
Secure 2.0 plan operational provisions 403B and 457B retirement plan changes. It is recommended the resolution listed below for the Secure 2.0 plan operational provisions 403B and 457B retirement plan changes be approved as submitted.
Second.
Is there any question or discussion on the motion? If not, Ms. Cortino?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page number 5, item number 3, Ms. Patterson.
Cash transfers. It is recommended the resolution listed below for cash transfers be approved as submitted.
Second.
If there's no question or discussion on the motion, Ms. Scortino?
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page number 7, item number 5, Mr. Fowley.
Number 6,
Numbers,
appropriations.
Yeah.
Page number 6.
Page 6, item 4.
Yeah.
Okay. It is recommended the resolution listed below for the fiscal year 2023 final amended appropriation measure for all funds be approved as submitted.
Second.
there's no question or discussion on the motion, Ms. Scortino?
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. My apologies. Page number 7 this time, item number 5, Ms. Lamperos.
Fiscal year 2024, 12-month temporary appropriation measure. It is recommended the resolution listed below for the fiscal year 2024, 12-month temporary appropriation measure for all funds be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any question or discussion on the motion? If not, Ms. Scortino?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page number 8, item number 1, Ms. Patterson.
The 23-24 school calendar for teachers and students amendment. It is recommended the resolution listed below amend the 2023-24 school calendar approved at the regular board meeting held on November 29, 2022. Motion number 11-2022-229 be approved as submitted.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion on the motion? No? If not, Ms. Scortino, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page number 9, item number 2, Mr. Flanagan.
Agreements, contracts, and/or leases. It is recommended the resolution listed below entering into agreements, contracts, and/or leases A through O be approved as submitted.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion about the agenda item? If not, Ms. Scortino?
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page number 14, item number 3, Mr. Fowley.
Authorization for disposal of board-owned fixed assets for the period January 2023 through June 2023.
Second.
It is recommended the resolution authorizing disposal of board-owned fixed assets for the period January 2023 through June 2023 be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on the motion? If not, Ms. Scortino?
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 15, item number 4, Ms. Lamperos.
Recognition to furnish insurance for property, vehicle fleet, general liability, school leaders' professional liability, boiler, crime, flood and earthquake, and excess liability for school year 2023-2024. It is recommended the resolution listed below to recognize the quote received to furnish insurance for property, vehicle fleet, general liability, school leaders' professional liability, boiler, crime, flood, and earthquake, and excess liability for school year 2023-2024 be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on the motion? If not, Ms. Scortino?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 16, item number 5, Ms. Patterson.
Payment of insurance claim. It is recommended the resolution to pay an insurance claim be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on the item? If not, Ms. Scortino?
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 17, item number 6, Mr. Flanagan.
awarding the contract for furnishing insurance for property, vehicle fleet, general liability, school leaders' professional liability, boiler, crime, flood, and earthquake, and excess liability for school year 2023 through 2024. It is recommended the resolution listed below to award the contract for furnishing insurance for property, vehicle fleet, general liability, school leaders' professional liability, boiler, crime, flood and earthquake, and excess liability for school year 2023 through 2024 be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on the item? If not, Ms. Cortino.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 18, item number 7. Mr. Fowley.
Approving recommendation of the construction manager to accept bids for its construction project. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding approving the recommendation of the CMR to accept the bids for its construction project be approved as submitted.
Second.
Is there any question or discussion on the item?
Mr. Lacy.
Yes, so.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Take a sample. So this is the locker room floor. The cost is already included in to what the bigger estimate was set up for the entirety of the floor. So we did have some visits on this. That is recycled rubber.
Okay.
And we have cleaning instructions that came along with it to, for any type of bacterial type of things. So I was really impressed with the company and how they also, you're not just getting floor, you're getting, okay, this is what you need to do specifically for cleaning and sanitization. So I was pretty happy with that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that. Any other questions from anyone?
This is specific to the locker room. This is not the flooring for the entire recreational wellness center. This is for the locker room area, which our anticipation is to have it operational here in August.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Superintendent. Ms. Cortino, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 20, item number 8. Oh, who read the last
Me.
one? Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Patterson.
Oh, okay. Revised salary table M, classified hourly salary table. It is recommended the resolution listed below adopting changes to salary table M, classified hourly salary table be approved as submitted with changes as recommended.
Second.
Any question or discussion on the item? If not, Ms. Cortino?
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Mr. Flanagan, page 20, item 9.
21.
21, and I'm looking at it, and I said 20, and it's 21. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ohio Department of Education certification for Ohio Teachers Evaluation System and Ohio Principal Evaluation System. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding the Ohio Department of Education certification for credentialed Ohio Teachers Evaluation System and Ohio Principals Evaluators be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any question or discussion on the item? If not, Ms. Cortino?
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 22, item number 10, Mr. Fowley.
Tuition reimbursement. It is recommended the resolution listed below for tuition reimbursement be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on the item? If not, Ms. Cortino?
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Fowley?
One of the F people.
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 23, item number 11, Mrs. Lamparos.
Acceptance of gifts. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding acceptance of gifts be approved as submitted, and we have benefactors of Blessed Sacrament Church with new clothing items for our pantry, estimated $60 value. Farmers National Bank, student incentive monetary donation, a value of $300, and Helen Garrigus for the pantry, new clothing and food items, a value of $524.39.
Second.
Any question or discussion?
Just thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, we're always more than grateful to the community of Warren who steps up in whatever way the school is
End of
needed.
the fiscal year and
Yeah.
have this.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So thank you so much. Ms. Cortino?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 24, item number 12, Mrs. Patterson.
Accepting the resignation of teacher Kimberly Anzavino from her continuing contract and to employ as an academic intervention liaison. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding accepting the resignation of teacher Kimberly Anzavino from her continuing contract and to employ her as an academic intervention liaison be approved as submitted.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion on the item?
I just have a question of the superintendent. Why is this necessary? It just
I'm
seems
sorry,
confusing.
why is what necessary?
The releasing her from her continuing contract as a teacher and employing her as an academic intervention liaison.
Because she is leaving the certificated field or division of the Warren City Schools to become a classified employee. This resolution is for the protection of the board and the district.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Superintendent. Any other question or discussion? If not, Ms. Cortino?
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 25, item 13, Mr. Flanagan.
Appointments, certificated administrators, less than 52-week, salary table C, campus leader, supplemental, 2023 through 24 school year. Whereas the superintendent of the Warren City School District, Trumbull County, has recommended the administrators listed below be designated as campus leader pending OPES credential verification. This is a supplemental duty in addition to their current administrative assignment for the 2023-24 school year. The administrators listed below have been notified of the additional duty assigned and that the supplemental contract shall state that the Board of Education gives notice of non-reemployment for the ensuing school year.
Read the next sentence too.
Thank you. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Warren City School District, Trumbull County, Ohio, accept the superintendent's nomination.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion on the motion? Congratulations to our campus leaders. Ms. Ortino, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Page 26, item number 14. Is it Mr. Flanagan, is it? No, you just read. Mr. Fowley, go ahead.
Personnel recommendations. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding personnel items A through L be approved as submitted.
Second.
It's through page 36. Paragraph 32.
Thank you.
36 and 37.
And we want to thank Michelle Douglas and Dolores McConnell for their service here with the Warren City School District and wish them the best in their retirement. And I believe that is all, correct? All right. If there's no,
Also, I just want to draw attention, Mr. Klein is here today. He'll be leaving the role of curriculum liaison at McGuffey, as a teacher on special assignment, being the new 3-5 taught principal over at Jefferson.
Okay.
Great, great.
Congratulations, Mr. Klein.
Very nice.
Excellent. All right, if there's no other question or discussion on the motion, on the item, Ms. Cortino, please call the roll.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Klein.
Welcome to the 18th.
Yes, that's
Go
right.
to the 18th.
Want to make sure we got that in there.
I know, it's tradition.
If we want to keep flipping to page,
37?
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to keep flipping to page number 37. Item number 1, Ms. Lamperos.
Board's recommendations, addendum to treasurer's employment contract. It is recommended the resolution below regarding an addendum to the treasurer's employment contract be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any question or discussion on the item? If not, Ms. Cortino?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Is it weird to call that for your own contract? No, I'm glad. Yes, I just wanted to make her wait. No. Yes, and the motion carries. No. Agenda item number 2, page 38. Ms. Patterson.
Addendum to the superintendent's employment contract. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding an addendum to the superintendent's employment contract be approved as submitted.
Second?
Ms. Cortino, if there's no question or discussion, Ms. Cortino, please call the roll.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes, and the motion carries. All right. I don't believe, Mr. Superintendent, there is any public participation, 11B.
That's correct.
All right. Well, there's no need for executive session. I'm going to ask, time is 11:28.
11?
I'm sorry, 1:28. I'm sorry. Yeah. Listen, messing me up, it's the middle of the day. The time is 1:28 p.m. We're going to ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cortino, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Lamperos?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, obviously I need to go, and the motion carries. Thank you all for your time.